My website where this broadcast originates from is theglobalreality.com. That's theglobalreality.com. Go there, get yourself a membership so you can stay current with all of the shows, because, you know, we're not going to be broadcasting current shows. We still are right now, intermittently, but I'm trying to give everybody fair warning and due notice that we will be broadcasting. We'll broadcast the show once at a random time live, and that's it. So if you want to stay current with new shows, you'll just have to go to my website, theglobalreality.com. There on the right-hand side of the page says subscribe. Click that. It'll take you to a menu page where you can select what kind of package you want. You can go month to month. You can get a multi-month deal. It's 6 months, a year. Go crazy and get the lifetime deal. I'll just keep refreshing it and giving you a new one every time it expires. You can get one of those for $1,000. Lifetime membership. And, yeah, you can also get downloads of most of my films up there. Buy those and help us out. Get Lost Secrets Volume 1, Volume 2. You can get those downloads, almost 6 hours of the film there. Still trying to get the rest of what we need for Volume 3 for the massive, ground-shaking revelations we're going to bring about in this film. And even though our Indiegogo campaign ended, you can still get those top 3 deals. If you get the tip-top one, as I said the other night, you're going to get something extra special in that deal. That's for damn sure. You can also go over to our Rock, Gem, and Mineral page, facebook.com/Let There Be Rocks, one word, Let There Be Rocks. Let There Be Rocks. That's our thing where we sell our gems and minerals and jewelry, all kinds of stuff over there for something I wanted to do, and I tried getting off the ground for a long time and decided just to start small, and have started small, and we picked up a few customers, and we had a few customers come in recently and get some moldavite from us, so I had some requests to talk about moldavite tonight, because we had a listener who had got some, and we related his story to the audience, and we just had a huge response from that. So Darren, your story has really inspired a lot of people. I've gotten tons of emails about it. It blew me away. I mean, that's one of those things, you know, it's always good to relate your experiences like that, especially the good ones and positive ones and the mind-blowing ones, you know, to somebody else who gets it. Because I get where Darren's coming from in that, man. I mean, he's I don't know for a fact, but I mean, I think from what he's told me, you know, he's not really somebody who really usually has those kind of experiences. This moldavite's really opened it up for him. And, you know, I've seen the powers of it myself, all this stuff. I could completely relate to where he's coming from, and apparently so can a lot of you out there. It's amazing. So we've had a lot of emails from people very interested, wanted me to talk about it. So I did a little reading about moldavite last night, and also talked a little bit about Libyan desert glass as well, which is very similar to that. And it has a very interesting story as well. So because I was asked by a few listeners to kind of relate some of this information to you all, I am going to do that. I did it last night, but I'll do it again here. So I want to read this thing about moldavite, since one of our listeners, a couple of our listeners rather, asked about this. One look at moldavite, and there's no question, is a stone of greatness. Etherically carved of spiritual fire and destined for purpose. This mysterious green talisman is starborn, formed from nature's violent meteoric impact with Mother Earth. Etched by force and flame as it fell from the heavens, moldavite returned to the Earth's surface transformed, a glass of amazing delicacy and grace ready to serve humankind. As a stone of connectivity, moldavite carries an intense frequency, a fusion of earthly and extraterrestrial energies that are quickly felt, often dramatically, in those who resonate with its power. Holding moldavite for the first time often produces a sensation of heat, first felt in the hand, then progressively throughout the body. In some cases, the heart chakra is activated, experienced as a pounding pulse followed by a sweating or flushing of the face. In an emotional release, that may range from laughter to tears. Moldavite's frequency may take some getting used to, but its profound ability to accelerate one's personal and spiritual evolution makes it highly sought after in the metaphysical world, both for its life-altering capabilities and as a catalyst for drawing in light to aid Earth's healing. Moldavite is a member of the tektite group of natural glasses formed from interplanetary collisions. From the Greek word tektos, meaning molten, tektites are glassy mixtures of silicon dioxide, aluminum oxide, and other metal oxides with an amorphous crystal structure. Unlike other tektites from around the world, which are tar black or brownish black, translucent moldavite is a deep forest green, is the only variety suitable for cutting and faceting as a gem. Now, that's the important part right there. Did you hear that? Tektites from around the world, which are tar black or brownish black generally, but translucent moldavite is the only variety of tektite or meteorite impact material suitable for cutting and faceting as a gem. And that is up to and including our most current available techniques. Now that right there reveals something quite amazing about another tektite type material, and that is Libyan desert glass or Egyptian desert glass. And we've had a few pieces of this stuff, actually. Every time we get one in, it sells pretty quickly. I don't know, it's strange. They seem to be not quite as expensive as some of the moldavite is, but definitely much more hard to get. It's much easier for me to obtain moldavite than it is the Libyan desert glass. But they call it the Golden Ray Ascension tektite. And here's what's interesting about it. In July 2006, a television documentary reported that the central scarab in one of the necklaces found in Tutankhamun's tomb was actually made of Libyan desert glass, an ancient extraterrestrial substance which predates the earliest Egyptian civilization and not Chalcedony as previously thought. This most unusual substance is by no means a new scientific discovery, having been known of since the early 1930s. But what has puzzled scientists is how it came to be in this remote and inhospitable area called the Great Sand Sea of Egypt. The barren frontier between the Libyan and Egyptian borders is a vast desert area with not a single water source for 150,000 square miles. Even at the outset of the earliest ancient Egyptian civilizations, the area where the vast glass field lay had become inaccessible to all but the most handy and intrepid of nomads and traders. Its inaccessibility made this superb stone highly prized in the reserve of the pharaohs. Today, the Great Sand Sea of Egypt is still one of the harshest environments on the planet. And this, together with Egyptian permit restrictions to travel this area to extract samples, make it now incredibly difficult to source pieces, and supplies of genuine stones have reduced to a trickle. With no actual visible impact site, scientists have theorized this field of glass must have been the result of an airborne explosion. The event would have been 10,000 times more powerful than an atomic explosion, with temperatures reaching up to 1800 degrees Celsius. So this Egyptian desert glass, being a tektite material like moldavite, but much more mysterious, cannot be carved or faceted by any modern hands, by any modern tools. It can't be cut or any kind of way because it just cracks and breaks. And I have a ring, like a pretty large size, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a 10 or 11, maybe larger, a man-size ring in stock of Libyan desert glass. And we had it for a while, but the way they made it, it's like a triangle-shaped piece. And the way that they made this thing, they had to just build basically little I don't know what you call them, little attachments to just hold and build kind of a shape, the ring shape around this piece. Because there's nothing else you can do if you want to make a piece of jewelry out of it. You can't do any kind of tooling to it or drilling or any kind of faceting or cutting of it of any shape or form. So up until 2006, we were told that the scarab beetle in Tutankhamun's necklace was made of chalcedony, when it actually indeed is made of Egyptian desert glass. Now, go look up Tutankhamun's necklace and type Tutankhamun's necklace, scarab, Libyan desert glass. I mean, go look at that thing. It's laser etched. Not only is it etched, it's etched with absolute precision. And it's not only absolutely etched, it's smoothed and polished, then cut. Folks, we cannot do that today. Moldavite is the only material of that type known to man that can be cut, faceted, or anything else. I mean, that's what I'm finding more and more in this research, is that the tie into crystals and these materials and the knowledge of them and the usage of them in the ancient times seem to be one of the main things they've been keeping a lid on and want to keep a lid on. But they're the most ancient, their most utilized ancient technology on the planet is crystals. They've been utilized as technology as long as there have been civilizations here on this planet, according to ancient texts and ancient writings, the Lemurians, the Atlanteans, so on and on. There's even a type of crystal they call the Lemurian seed crystal. And it has these notches in it on the side. And they say that in these notches, there's actual data encoded into these crystals that the Lemurians hard-coded into all the crystals on the planet. Specifically, these ones that they call the Lemurian seed crystals. I've got one for sale, actually. It's like this thing's unbelievable. It's a pink Tibetan Lemurian quartz, seed quartz. It's massive. It's like it's like 8 inches and like fucking 5 inches around. It's just huge. And most of the time you see on there like 1 to 2 inches. One is like, almost as big around as a fucking, it's like a giant dildo, really. Literally what it is, like a giant crystal, fucking, it's huge. But it's got ridges like on almost every side of this thing. And it's amazing to see this headdress of Tutankhamun, this necklace, and see this. Because that most people, that's just going to go right over their head, So I'm so grateful that in this research on the lost secrets, and specifically into the rock wall, that I dove into this geology, because really that's what I'm finding. That's where the truth is. Because that's the stuff you can't explain away. And that's the stuff they want to explain away. That's why in stuff like America on Earth, they didn't even bother introducing that. Because that's where the truth is. That's where the evidence is. It lies in the fact that these materials, specific materials, were chosen for their structural engineering capabilities by advanced level engineers who either had been or had access to knowledge that came from people who had been doing that kind of building for an extreme amount of time, where they can just utilize what's there. And it gives a lot, to me, that gives a lot of credence to, the idea that somebody, I think it's silly to think that people haven't been coming here for eons, and probably every other planet. You think about how many planets and whatnot there are out there. I'm sure there are people from all galaxies and every universe is going around planet to planet, and picking up resources they need and heading out. Some of them probably get marooned sometimes and, you know, end up inadvertently seeding a civilization. I mean, that shit happens. I mean, if you think about what the plans are for the future of space exploration, the main thing on their hot plate is getting to somewhere like Titan and getting resources to bring them back to Earth. So if it's the first thing that we want to do when we get space travel, theoretically, if you think about how the universe works, I mean, even though it's silly to think that all life on other planets looks like us and talks like us and the rest of it, the idea that there are universal absolutes and that probably many things in other civilizations are very much like our own, despite the varied amount of differences, it's very plausible. Because, I mean, it would make sense that there would be all of these different races going. I mean, once there's people say, why haven't they been back, this, that, and the other? Well, if they were only there in the first place to pick up resources, and they wouldn't have even gone to this planet if it had life on it already, you know, obviously they went to the planet and started doing the route because there was nothing there. I mean, that's really what all the stories talk about as well. They create a worker, a drone, and next thing you know, that planet is inhabited. The whole reason anybody came here in the first place is because it wasn't, and then, of course, they're not going to come back once it's inhabited, because they're looking for places that aren't inhabited. They can mine for resources and move on. And, you know, they really kind of hint at that, I think, a lot in the movie Avatar. I think that's kind of what they're hinting at there. Getting us acclimated to, you know, have to deal with possibly that conundrum in the future. I think we will have to deal with it in the future. The idea of, you know, going to some planet like Titan, which I think was kind of a metaphor. I mean, is it Titan? Doesn't it in Titan in the whole, in Europa and whatever, the one Avatar, I think that was a moon as well. The same kind of thing, you know, going there, the conundrum of wanting to go to a planet to get these resources, take them back to Earth, but having the problem of what if there's life there? And it seems interesting because if you think about how long those Naboo people or whatever they were in Avatar had existed and been around, there had probably been other civilizations too that knew they were there, but nobody ever messed with them. All of a sudden, you know, here comes America, yeah, you know. We don't give a goddamn, we'll kill anything that's here. We need the oil, we need the trees, we kill them all, take resources, take their unobtainium, yeah. I think that's what they're hinting at, you know, because I think probably it looks like there's been like some universal law out there where, and they hint about that universal law in Star Trek as well. The Genesis Project in Star Trek. This device that can terraform a planet or just a moon, a barren wasteland moon, into a fertile, thriving planet with life. And they're looking for a place to detonate this thing, to test it, to see if it works. And the main thing that they state over and over again is, you know, they have to find a place where there's absolutely zero life. They can't detonate it somewhere where there actually is life because it'll cause it to regenerate and be a part of it. It would just be, you know, be a violation of some code. And then they hint again at this sort of universal code in the Star Trek Into Darkness, where they go to the planet Nibiru, coincidentally enough. I mean, come on. They didn't even try to hide that from us one bit, did they? It's right there in your face. And they go to this planet, and what happens? They're going there to retrieve what? An artifact. Imagine that. And they take this artifact, but they tell Kirk and Bones that, not to let these guys see the ship because they're an unevolved system. And sure enough, they see the ship and they start worshiping that and draw pictures of it and start worshiping the ship. And they talk about, this being a violation of Starfleet code and all this stuff. And it seems, especially with that Nibiru reference, it almost seems that they're kind of encoding that in there. I mean, Gene Roddenberry was a Freemason, and on down the line, we know the whole history of Star Trek and the Nazis and the rest of that stuff, NASA. But you start to see more and more that there was somebody here who had access to technological things well beyond anything that we may ever have. And we have a piece of this Libyan desert glass. We have like a nice big piece. It's 17.8 grams, like $125. We also have a ring. It's like $60 too. It's a big man size one. But it's just another one of those little tidbits of information, that you find in this realm of research and gemology and looking at the geology of these different materials, seeing how they form. Again, seeing that these rock wall stones, the stuff that they have in them, absolutely, cannot form just ground up already in blocks that form in some natural sandstone dike. It just is absolutely impossible. And it's impossible for all of these, for multiple. If you have one or two, okay, maybe it's a coincidence. But when you have every piece of material that is chosen specifically for its structural engineering capabilities, ladies and gentlemen, that cannot happen naturally, and it cannot be a coincidence. So that was an interesting place to find another piece of tidbit of information, that Libyan desert glass, and the moldavite stuff, reading that moldavite information. I didn't finish reading that, by the way. Let me finish up on that, and we'll move on to some reading of Edgar Cayce. This beautiful stone is rare, found only in Czechoslovakia. It is named for the area in which it is found, near the Moldo River. While scientists differ in theories regarding moldavite's origin, nearly all agree its formation coincides with the crash of a large meteorite approximately 14.8 million years ago on what is now the Bohemian Plateau. The rock metamorphosed by the heat of impact created a strewn field of moldavite in the two mostly rural areas of Bohemia and Moravia. Farmers often turned up the stones when plowing their fields, while other specimens worked their way to the surface after spring thaw or heavy rains in the fall. Most recently, collectors have mined for gem-grade and museum-quality specimens by sifting and digging through loose sands and gravel. The shapes of moldavite give witness to its molten origins, most commonly drop-like, plate or disc-shaped, oval, spheroid, dumbbell-shaped, elliptical, rod-like, or spiral, all common in splash patterns of liquids. That's what it was. It was a big molten piece of alien liquid that crashed in Earth and makes this green, it just looks mossy. It looks, green, dark green, glassy, mossy. Look, it's amazing stuff. And I've seen some of the stuff. Most of the stuff, a lot of stuff I get too that I do have cut and polished stuff, but a lot of stuff I have is we like to offer a lot of raw, rough materials. A lot of people like the energy better, the rough, unpolished stuff. So I don't really sell a lot of tumbled stuff. I'll leave that to everybody else. I like to stick with nice quality specimens with all my stuff. But somebody else wanted to know more specifically about the metaphysical properties of moldavite. It's one of the best stones to use for psychic protection as negative entities find it difficult to connect to your aura when you're wearing it. Wearing this stone is an advantage when you're working with spirit, so you can be sure that what you're making contact with is of the light, not of the dark. One of its best assets is that it is a protective stone, and especially if you are working on developing psychic abilities. Using this stone in meditation is also very powerful. Change and spiritual healing are the most common elements that this powerful natural crystal stimulates amongst most people, and this may take on different forms. This beautiful green crystal can affect any or all of the chakras, but its major effect is on the heart chakra, which resonates from the vibration of love. And again, that's going to be drying up next year, so it's definitely a good idea to get it while you can. Anyway, I hope that helps. Thank you, listeners, for suggesting I talk about that. If you have any other questions or other stones or anything else you'd like me to talk about here on the show, anything else you want information on, just send me an email, globalrealityshow@gmail.com. Be happy to answer that.